Hello everyone, this is Antonomia, Assistant Professor in Computer Science from St. Joseph's College, Hosur. In this video, we'll be seeing about database in Python programming. So database is used for easy storage and retrieval of data. So in Python, the developers will be interacting with relational databases like SQLite, MySQL, PostgreSQL, or NoSQL. In NoSQL, we have few databases like MongoDB, Python libraries like SQLite 3, SQLAlchemy, PyMongo, and RedisPy. And for connecting to a database, first we need to create a connection. Then we need to create a cursor. Then we'll be using the SQL queries for executing the operations like creating a database, inserting values or deleting values, updating values or data retrieval, etc. Then object relational mapping uses tools like SQLAlchemy. Basic database operations. First one is underlying storage. So we'll be having a consistent storage of a file system where we'll be using system files. We can also be using raw disk partitions. Then we have a user interface. So there the database will be providing either a command line tool or graphical user interface for interacting with the database. Like you can be providing commands or queries and everything. Then we're having database. Mostly we'll be using a relational database management system for managing databases like sales, marketing, customer support. So all these can also be on the same server, or if you want, we can make it on different servers also. And MySQL is one example of server-based relational database management system. So server-based means the server process will keep on running. Whether you're going to issue commands or not, the server will be processing frequently. Next one is components. So first we're having a database. Inside the database, you can create many tables. So tables contains rows and columns where all your data will be stored. So row, it is one field where we'll be storing all the database columns. So next one is database schema. So it is a structure of your database. Means we can say structure of your table. Let's say for example we are going to create a student table. So what all details we can have inside the student table is like register number, name of the student, the date of birth of the student, then the marks of the student for like by semester 1, semester 2, the semester 3, 4, etc. Then the total average and the percentage. So like that we can have a database schema. Then databases can be created and it can be deleted also. And also we can add new rows, like for that we'll be using the commands like insert. And we can also change the values inside the table using update. We can remove the values using delete. And then we can query the database asking for the values inside the tables using querying. We can either fetch all the rows at the same time, or we can fetch one or few rows based on the conditions that we are going to give. So that also is possible. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Database commands and queries are given to the database by the structured query language. So mostly databases are not case sensitive. Then all the line means the commands ends with a semicolon. So the first one we are going to see here is how to create a database. For that we'll be using the create statement. So create database test. So here create database is the like what to say keywords, and test is the name of the database. Then grant all on. So grant is again a keyword where we are going to grant permissions on our database to a specific number of users, either one or two or a group of users, like that we can grant all the permissions. So what all permissions we can grant is insert permission, delete permission, update permission, and select permission, that is viewing the values permission. So all these four or any among the four can be given using the database. So once you're logging in, you just forgot to access the database, means you forgot to choose what database you're going to use. So in those cases we can use this keyword use and give the name of the database. Next one is dropping a database is deleting the database. So when you delete the database, all the tables values inside the database will be deleted together. Creating a table. So if you want to create a table, that can be done using the create table statement. So create table, this is the keyword, users is the name of the table. So inside brackets, you can see here we are opening a parenthesis and here we are closing the parenthesis. So the first one is name of the column. The second one is the data type. So here login is the name of the first column. Varchar of 8 is a data type. So 8 means 8 characters will be stored. UID of int. So this is your second column. It is an integer column. And PRID of int. So this is your third column. So the name of the data table that we are going to use is here is users. And we are having 3 columns inside that: login, UID and PRID. Dropping a table, we can delete a table also. Inserting a row, so here is an example: insert into. So these are the keywords: insert into. Users is the name of the table that we just created. What we are going to insert is values, so we are using the keyword values. The first one that we are going to enter is name, that is Liana, and then we are entering the PRID UID, that is 311, and then we are entering the PRID, that is 1. Next one is updating a row. So update, this is example. Update is a keyword. Users is the name of the table. Again, set is a keyword. PRID is a column name. So where PRID is equal to 4, we are going to set where PRID was 2. So previously in the particular table, where and all PRID was 2. So which all columns had PRID as 2, that will be updated as PRID 4. The second example, update users, set PRID is equal to 1, where UID is equal to 311. So which all columns has 311 as a UID, there the PRID will be updated as 1. Deleting a row. The first example, delete from is a keyword. The name of the table, that is users. Again, where is a keyword. PRID is equal to %D. So from user, we are going to get what PRID we want to delete. So whatever PRID value the user is entering, that particular row or rows based on the PRID will be deleted. Next one, delete from users. So this is a table name, users. Delete from users. We are not mentioning any condition. It means all the rows inside the users table will be deleted. So here is an example of how to connect to a database. Import mysql.connector. We are using this package. Then connection, MySQL. So first one was to create a connection. Second one was to create a cursor. So first we are going to establish a connection. Connection is equal to MySQL connector that we have imported here. So we are giving that dot connect. Host, user, password, database, all this will be giving when you are installing the database package. So that you will have to note down. So here host is MySQL, user is Anto, password is Grace, and the name of the database is going to be MySQL. So second step was to create a cursor. So cursor is equal to connection dot cursor. So we are creating a cursor. It is like a workspace where all the SQL queries will be executed. Then we can give all the SQL queries. So first query that we are going to give here is we are going to create a table. So this is a SQL query. This SQL query is going to be stored inside a variable. So this is a variable. Create table query is a variable. So create table query is equal to, inside that we are giving the query. So create table if not exist. So if this students table is not there already, we are going to create a new table. If it is there, we will not be creating. So create table if not exists, students, ID, int, auto increment primary key. So ID is the name of the column, int is your data type, auto increment means, let's say for example, now the register number is 100. So the next time it will automatically take the register number as 101, then 102, then 103, like that. Primary key means this particular ID column can never be null. It should always have the value. So that is one particular usage of primary key, as well as the ID value should always be unique. So primary key always checks these two constraints, unique and not null. So yeah, no student can have the same register number. So that is why here we are mentioning it as a primary key. So the ID when it is the primary key, it means it should have unique value and it cannot be left blank. Always whenever you're creating or inserting a new row, the ID must have a value. Next one, we are going to have name. Varchar of 255 characters will be there. Then we are having another column called as age, where you will be storing integer. So now this is the query that we have given. So now, like I told you, the cursor is a workspace where the queries will be executed. So cursor dot execute of the variable name. Create table query was our variable name. So that variable name is used here. Next query that we are going to use is insert. So again, this insert query is put inside the variable called as insert data query. So insert into students, we are going to insert only name and age. ID auto increment we have given, so it will be automatically incremented. That is why we are not using it here. It will not show an error because we have used auto increment. So we are going to enter two values, name and age. So both are strings, so we have given percentage %s and percentage %s. So here inside another variable called student data, we are passing two values, Alice and 25. So now again we are going to execute this insert query, cursor.execute. Insert data query is where the query is available, comma, we are passing values for that query inside another variable called as student data. So we are executing both. So now inside the students table, the first row will be inserted where the name is Alice and age is 25. The next query, select data query is equal to select star from students. Star refers to all columns. So we are going to select all the columns and all the columns from students. After that, if you're giving where condition, so based on the condition, we'll be selecting the columns. So here, since there is no conditions, all the columns and all the rows will be selected. So we have given the query. So next step is to execute the query. So cursor dot execute this select data query. So student is equal to cursor dot fetch all. We are fetching all the values inside. So now for student in students, that is the variable inside the table, we are going to print all the rows. So let's say the student table contains 5 rows. So all the 5 rows will be printed here. Next one is connection dot commit. Commit is for saving the changes to your database. So for that only we'll be using this commit. So connection dot commit means we are saving all the changes and we are closing the connection. So here are two questions for you people to test your understanding. Thank you.